we've got plenty to muck about with, so it won't be a big drama, will it? That lovely Ghibli. I think we better do some work on it. Now, what are we on? Brakes. Missing its brake pods. So I managed to get some, thanks to McGrath Maserati. They have these in stock most of the time. They're a Girling pot, so shared with Jaguar and other things. So let's have a look at where they go and what we've got to do. So that's where we've got to put them, on the ends of them pipes, and they go on them brackets there. Or rather, they go on some brackets onto those studs. But you can see the end stud, looks like it's been broken off. Okay, so pots will go on there like that, pair of them, and then these studs. Not sure about that one, it would be those two, and then that one there, which as you can see is broken off. So I'm going to have to drill that out, but aside from that, we ain't got any brackets. So we better go and have a look at the other car and see if we've got some brackets on that. And then we can make some. We don't need the pot, just the bracket. Okay. That's what we want, isn't it? So one of these brackets off, and then we can make some. Let's go to the old mechanic in the can. There, you see that other stud doesn't seem to be doing much, does it? So perhaps we don't need that one. Oh, they'll come undone nicely, won't they? What do you reckon that is? It's like an 8mm and a slotted screwdriver. Better go and get that then, hadn't I? Oh, it looks like it's one bracket for the whole thing. Look. I thought it was one each. Okay, we'll sort that out. It's a bit tight on the studs. There we go. They're off. So, go and make one of them, shall we? A sad news this week out of the death of Marcello Candini, who was, one of another greats of Italian design. Lamborghini Miura, Countach, various BMWs, Alfa Romeo Montreal, and so on. You'll hear a lot of talk about him, I'm sure. There'll be a lot of information about Marcello Candini and his masterful design work. But of all his favourites, if you think about it, that's quite remarkable, isn't it? His work. No, we're looking at a Ghibli. He didn't do the Ghibli. But the closest to my heart of all of his cars is this one. The A112. So I'm not saying you can keep your Miura and your Countach, but I'll never get a pop at one, will I? But I have got this, and I've had this for 30 odd years, and it's a real favourite of mine. And it was penned on my Cello Candini. So if it wasn't for this little car, I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff, as this is what got me into the Italian stuff in the first place. And if it wasn't for Gandini, well, I'd never have found it in the first place, because they'd never have existed. So one day, we'll do a proper film on it. I'll get it, wake it from its slumber, and we can find out a bit more about it. But as I say, 30 years of ownership of this one. Paid £50 for it. It is an Arbath, and as they say in Arbath circles, once you've been stung, you've been stung. Well, that's the bracket sort of base. So we'll start with that, and that's at 2mm. And this is at 1.2. Anyway, we make that. We've got a bit 2mm there. So we keep it simple, we'll just draw around it. If I can hold it still. Now as it's 2mm, I'll have to cut it on the saw, because my guillotine won't take 2mm, which is a shame, because it makes things hard work. Quite often means we've got to file them up afterwards to get them straight. So I'll have to cut just one side of it a bit to allow a bit of excess. But we'll have a look at that. Right, we'll go down the length first, because we've got a bit of control then, and then we'll nip that bit out of there. Now I need to take it up to the edge a bit, get up to that line, but I'll probably file that to do it carefully. That'll do for the base, won't it? Now I've got to do these. So I've marked out a bit of cardboard so we can work out what we need for them. Should be able to put this inside and work out what we need. Something like that would be a good idea, is to use this to help hold it in place, wouldn't it? Right, that should give us what we need, so we know what length we want. Now, because that's the inside of that, I'm not sure if it will end up quite long enough, so we might just make this a bit longer, the first one, just to see. But I'll cut the pattern to size, and then we'll see how we go. You know, because this has a thickness to it, doesn't it, anyway, and we're sort of working on the inside. So it might be that's a touch short, but we'll find out in a minute. So you want some 1.2, wasn't it? Right, that's 1.2, that'll do us. Got a nice long length of that. Mark it direct off this, I think. Right, we're going to have more than we'd ever need of that. It's not a bad idea. Well, what we'll do, so I think if we make this one a bit longer to begin with, just to see what we got, just in case. See, I'm not sure if this will sort of foreshorten it slightly, working on the inside like that. So I think if we just be a bit careful, we've got plenty to muck about with, so it won't be a big drama, will it? There's a little kick on there, but we'll do that afterwards. We'll do the rest of it first, don't we? We get that round, don't we? It's got a sort of flat on the bottom there, so we've got to replicate that. Okay. Well, that will do it. We're just a bit tall there. So if we cut that down to there like that, probably work. Right, get some holes punched in these. Okay, we want to find the middle of them. Now, let's see what we can do with these. It's 20mm, so that's nice and easy. So we set these at 10mm. Then we can mark off there, can't we? That'll give us our 20mm. There you go. We can mark it off with this. Can you hear the owl? That's because it's the middle of the night and I should be going home. And that's give us those, which is this, you see, so that starts flat there, doesn't it? So I'm just going to mark get these, like a break in those with the folder. And then I'll do this bit and then we'll work out those bits where it folds back on itself. I think that's what we'll do. What I will just do is deburr these though. Right, we're breaking these. Okay. So. I think we should put these in now. I'm using a pencil because I can see it easier. And it's not, not something we have to worry so much about. If I line that up with there, on that edge, it keeps it straight, doesn't it? It keeps it in true. Okay, let's go have that little kick back on there as well. But what we now need to do is get this arc in there, which I was using that for, wasn't I? Which is a good size. I know it's a good size. It's very dirty. Got a lot of grease on it. I'll clean it off first. got to sharpen them up a bit. So we've got to have that kickback on there. Could do with that, pushing that on something. That's about it, isn't it? Right, well, we're nearly there. That ain't too bad. Got a little bit more tweaking to do on there, but we're pretty much there, actually. That's pretty good. What do you think of them? They'll be alright, won't they? So, interesting. Well, I think it is. See this weld in here? But yeah, that's a sort of gas weld, I would have thought. It could be a MIG thing, but it doesn't look like an arc to me. And it's obviously not spot welded, which is what you'd expect to see. It's burnt through to there a bit. That is quite localised though, so that makes you wonder, was that a bit of MIG weld or something, or an old-fashioned arc weld? I don't know. But what I've done with ours is I've put a couple of little holes in it. And what I think I'll do is I think I'll spot weld it, and then I think I'll, fill it up with a bit of gas weld or something to emulate that, so it looks just about right. And then powder coated, that'll be spot on, won't it? So yeah, powder coated in the satin black, I think that'll look good. Do you approve? It's really the men from Modena, isn't it? Whether they approve. I'm sure they will. I use this little old spot welder because we've only got to nip it really, haven't we? We're not, it's not the final thing, is it? It's just to hold it whilst we can then weld it with, so I can't decide whether to use arc or a bit of gas on this. Right, looks nice, doesn't it? I think we're all right on this one. I can't decide if that's the gas or not. I think it is. I think that's a bit of gas. Yeah. That's the one, isn't it? So a little bonus for those that stuck it to the end of the video. Here's our seats. Gary's done them in his powder coating. So powder coated finishing in a nice grey that emulates what they would have been, and well, I'm very happy. So can you tell which one's which? I'll leave it for you to guess.